That was 2 weeks ago?
That was last week.
Last week?
Or no, last week was Griffin and Hartwell, also. I should figure, but we not for that.
Yeah. Did you have the needles?
Everybody.
Abbey Road?
They were the last week. We test.
That's always, gets good reviews.
We've actually had really good reviews for most of our shows. except
Oh, yeah.
One we got, the dueling pianos, we had some good comments, but other than that,
Where do they review it? I mean, where do you see those comments?
I think it's on our website, our new website, we have a call to action. Or they can just go on. The performers.
Oh, my God. Really?
But I thought they did well.
You were drinking with them?
No, I wasn't, but you just, when you go to like piano bars and stuff, you see it. They seem like they are a little, they got.
Advisory Council meeting, and if you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, we will call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that. Megan, are we here?
Sarah Menard.
Here.
Tina Kreitler.
Here.
Jan Braun.
Here?
Donna Rosh. Kelly Follett.
Here.
Kim Gordon. Laura Oliver.
Here.
Jack Ketting. Tom Hooper.
Here?
And Gary Smith. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. And you should all have a copy of the agenda if you would take a look at it and see if it meets your approval.
Move to approve?
Second?
A second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Thank you. And you probably got an electronic copy of the minutes, but if you did not, you have a copy of the minutes in front of you from the previous meeting.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Any second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. All right, thank you for that. At this time, we will ask if there are any citizens to be heard. No? There are citizens in the room, so welcome. We're glad you're here. And the next thing up would be the Director of Tourism report. And I just want to say this. If I didn't think you were already exhausted, I would ask you to stand and take a bow. But I'm not going to ask you to stand. But I want to go on record as saying that, and I know you're going to talk about the National Parks visit, but I think yesterday was a highly successful day, and I think that is the burden of all the planning and arranging. And I know that fell heavily to your shoulders, and I just want to say, good job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I have a lot of really good people to work with, both in the community with the historic sites and my staff. And that's actually my first order of business in my report. I would like to introduce Cody Casper, who's been our summer intern for tourism. And so he's really been learning all the ins and outs of tourism, all the different aspects of it. And he got to participate in the day yesterday too. So
Welcome, Cody. Yeah.
So, yes, at the beginning of my report, I mean, it seemed silly to leave it until the end, so it's at the beginning. This started out yesterday when we first started the planning process for this. It was going to be 3 people from the National Park Service coming in for a preview. Well, and it just kind of kept growing and growing and growing after that. And you know, when you attract a little attention, sometimes you attract a lot of attention. And we were very fortunate to have Senator Roy Blunt and his close friend and colleague, Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, who several people got to meet. And I know Maura especially enjoyed meeting her. I was glad when you said, I can't believe it, is that Lisa Murkowski over there? I was like, yes, how many people know the senator from Alaska by sight? But you did, so. Obviously,
She's pretty cool.
yeah.
Been a great deal, even with the few words that she said, she was very meaningful.
Very much on point, and we had a lot of great comments by Cam Shawley, who is the regional director for the National Park Service based out of Omaha. He's the current regional director, and he's by October timeframe will be moving on to become the superintendent at Yellowstone National Park, which is a real plum. And so it was very exciting that he came here, and with his supposed replacement in his position with him, and also our future park superintendent, who has been working very closely with us over these past few years, Tim Good from the National Park Service. He was at the Grant site in St. Louis, and recently he was promoted and transferred to the Abraham Lincoln site in Springfield, Illinois. And because of his affinity for our project here, he asked, and they encouraged him and approved him as the superintendent for our site as it moves forward. So that's really exciting because he's got a great background and certainly has worked very well with us and encouraging us up until this point. So all of the organizations that have been involved in this process over the years were present yesterday. I think most people in the room were present yesterday, and really appreciate everyone's participation. And I think we collectively gave a very good showing for St. Genevieve yesterday. It was a long day, but it was a very, very good day from a lot of viewpoints. And so
Yeah, I was going to say, and I spoke briefly to some of the representatives from the National Park Service. They were all really pleased with the day. Grateful, said they were well fed.
Right.
But they were also really excited about St. Genevieve. You know, they said, oh, we had no idea.
Right.
Some of them had an idea, but some of them, this was the first time visiting this part of the country, and they were just, they were pleased, so.
One thing to read about it, and as you all know, it's entirely another to see it firsthand. And so this was something that the National Park Service had prepared And I'll pass one of these down this way and one down that way. They didn't leave us very many, so we'll have this at the Welcome Center. I know Dina has a couple at the Chamber office, and so please take a look at it. It's very nice.
And it's on their website.
Yes.
They said it would be up today, they thought.
Oh, good. I haven't had a chance to
Yeah, I
check
haven't
that.
looked, but that's,
So, so there is that. And they, you know, in the process of all this, we learned a lot too about the process. And one of the remarks that I thought was especially telling was that the regional director for the National Park Service said that, you know, there are all kinds of ways forward in developing a new national park unit. And he said 15 years from now, we want it to be the best unit that it can be. So we need to take some time on the front end deciding, you know, making critical decisions. And we also want to keep things moving forward, which is music to our ears, because we collectively have been, as a community, have been pursuing this for 20 years now.
Yeah.
So, and heavily for 7 years, and all of that was before I started. And to me, it seems like we've been pursuing it pretty heavily for 5 years. So collectively, there's been a lot of energy put into it so far, and I know that from here on, the momentum will just continue to build. So it's really gratifying to hear the regional director speak so highly of the project and of his vision for it, and bringing the new director right along, moving forward with us.
and I was pleased that, number one, they are open to suggestions. I mean, they want to have dialogue with the city, with the county, about things like signage. Where are you going to bring people into the park? What are you going to do on Highway 55? And they didn't, at this moment, know specific answers, but they want to talk about it.
They were very open.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting when they said they would like to have an entry on the square somewhere.
Right.
That was just, it was really
That's-
interesting to see that they were thinking about it enough that they had formulated that, you know, as part of their plan.
Exactly, I'm sorry. I was going to say, but Cam Schalich said, we don't want that park to be sitting down there by itself, isolated from the rest of the historic district.
Which is, I think, been on the back of everyone's mind as
Yes.
we've been, you know, developing
Yeah.
this. Like, we're excited about it. We love the fact that it's going to be here, but we're a little worried that it's, you know, sort of isolated. So they were like, jump on it. Let's just make sure we have a presence right on the square in the downtown historic district and tie it all together, which is, again, an ideal scenario for us.
That was one of the really, I thought one of the positive things about that, you know, about last night's dinner.
And that they were so open to share that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
really, really nice.
Yes. So, I don't know how many people have seen, like, our social media today, or some of the news coverage that came out last night, but I just did some copies of links of the coverage that we did get. It's on the back of your
Oh, good.
tourism director report. So I'll also email this to the TAC members, so it'll be easy for you to click on it. I just thought for the meeting purposes, it would be interesting to see. Of course, we were on the front page of the Herald today. Also, we were on Sun-Times News and our St. Gen TV videotape yesterday, so that'll be available on YouTube. But we were also picked up by KFVS 12 out of Cape Girardeau, MIMO Info, which is a conglomerate of radio stations all across the state of Missouri, KTRS out of St. Louis, Fox 19, the Daily Journal, and there was also coverage on Channel 5 in St. Louis, I think, that maybe didn't make this list. So also KREI and KTJJ radio in Farmington had coverage as well. So that's pretty significant even in itself. I mean, that will pique
Yeah.
a lot of interest for some people who may have previously been completely unaware that St. Genevieve has been approved and that we'll be moving forward with this. And we've had so many people over the course of the last 3 to 4 months who have come in saying that they've learned about this or they've been following this and they're excited about it and they wanted to come see what the fuss was all about in St. Genevieve. So that's exactly where we want to be, something new and exciting to offer people.
Can we put that on our individual website? websites?
I will ask that question. I think they might have been in the process of tweaking it just a little bit, but I'll ask it. And-
Either a link or just a PDF?
Right. So,
I gather you want those back, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
They were pretty scarce yesterday.
They were, they're like,
Yeah.
mm.
You can have one,
Yeah.
maybe two.
No second.
That's okay, it's okay. But Jan, I will find out, and certainly if that's the case, I'll just go ahead and send it to you.
Okay.
And so, you mentioned signs. How many people have driven by one of the new wayfaring sign poles in the last 48 hours?
Oh, yeah, I saw that one down at the Welcome Center.
Yeah, pretty exciting, and they are absolutely handsome, beautiful. They are good-looking signs. And I think probably worth the wait, even though it was a bit of a wait, they were worth it because they really are gonna do a lot towards placemaking, beautifying, and informing people, so it's very exciting. So the street department has started putting them up, and will be continuing that process in between the other important things that they have on their regular agenda. We received notice since our meeting in April. We have received notice that our FY19 application for Promote Missouri Fund grant was approved. So we were approved at the full funding level. And that's a matching grant. The city puts in half and the state puts in half. We also just recently received approval for a small muni van grant that we had applied for, and so that will help us to do some additional programming with our Saturdays in St. John, specifically in the form of live music. So 3 times so far this summer, the St. Genevieve German Band has played right down there at the corner of Merchant and Main Street, and we appreciate that. And having this small grant will enable us to do some additional programming.
The German band playing down there is, that's a cool deal because, well, Jan can tell you, I think, was it the last time, I bet there were half a dozen people, maybe more, sitting over by the gazebo, and some people said, "Can we polka?"
They were dancing.
I don't know that I have to give you permission, but yes.
I think it's a huge success, and I hope, I
Yeah, right.
think it's a huge success, and I sure hope that they can build it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, so speaking of the German band, this wasn't on my report, but on the official schedule of events, there is an event that had been planned all throughout for September 29th, and that was an Oktoberfest, is going to be an Oktoberfest in St. Genevieve. And so the original organization that had proposed to put that event together is the Downtown St. Gen group. They, with some changes in their organization recently, are not going to be able to mount that event, and so a couple of other organizations in the community are considering picking it up and, you know, making it happen, because after all, these have been distributed pretty widely. And so one of those organizations is Audubon's, and they have told us that they will do some German food and music in a parking lot across the street from the Audubon's on that day. Also, they're going to do sponsor a bed race. If anyone's ever been to a bed race in some other communities, they're a lot of fun, and they raise money for a great cause. I believe it's the American Diabetes Association. And so Audubon's new manager has experience with this from another community that he had previously worked in, and so he offered to put this together. Audubon said yes, so that will help draw people here, and then they can stay for the Oktoberfest. This is kind of like we did with the French Festival this year. We had the hospital's Ride to Survive in the morning, and then that was the day of the French Festival. So it's kind of nice to pull people in and give them something else to do while they're here. So I also know that the Friends of the Museum is currently considering it. I believe that the Lions Club might be considering some form of a tie-in.
Yeah.
So there will be something going on that Saturday. And I approached directly the German band and asked them, now they normally only play in the summer because all of their German band instruments people are tied up with school somehow or another. But the director of the band, Roger Martin, did speak with the members of the German band, and they were in general in favor of the idea. They want to work out some of the details and figure out if they're going to, play for a while at this location and then for a while in that location, if they're going to get on their German band wagon
They have
or
a
trolley
wagon.
and circulate the way that they do during the Jour de Fête festival. So they're thinking about that, and I think obviously that'll be a real plus
Yeah.
for Oktoberfest to have the German band circulating throughout town. So
Music is a draw. No, I mean,
Oh
it
my
doesn't matter
gosh,
what
yeah.
kind of music, it's a draw for people, yeah.
and food,
And food.
gotta have food.
What is the amount of the tourism grant? Okay. Move
It's
on.
all right, it's all right. It's just been a
6,000.
while since I did that. I believe it was about 4,000.
4,000.
And then, so with ours, that makes it an $8,000 grant. It might be 82 and change.
And that's not the spring and fall, those are different grants than this one, this is a different grant than the spring and fall.
It's only one time a year.
One time a year.
Yeah, so one time a year, and we apply for it in April, and then it comes, it's in their fiscal year. Their fiscal year is different than ours, so.
Yeah,
It's,
very
yeah.
confusing.
Yeah. So we apply for, the way the state grants are done now is there are levels based on the size of community that you are. And so we apply for the maximum amount that we're eligible for our community size. And the last 2 years, we have gotten that max amount. And on that note, on July 13th, I had the opportunity to go to Jefferson City for an invitational program that the Missouri Division of Tourism did for DMO directors, and we met the new director of Missouri Tourism, whose name is Ward Franz. So,
Cool name.
yeah, very nice gentleman. He's really excited about moving forward with tourism, and he's keeping a lot of the key people. Lori Sims, who several of you probably will remember, has visited our community in the past. She will stay on as assistant director, and so she has a lot of great experience. So, and Dan Lennon, the previous director, retired. So. I'll skip this one for a moment. Facebook and Instagram, we have been doing more frequent social media posts, and this is thanks in part to Cody's participation and other staff at the Welcome Center. We've been doing a lot more scheduled posts for event support, and also periodic posts on Facebook. Those automatically go to our Twitter feed, and we've been doing more posts on Instagram. So if you've seen fun things like brightly colored ice cream cones, or scenes from the fair, or just street scenes or shop scenes on the Visit St. John Instagram, and you like it, please, share and amplify our message. I know, Laura, we talked about that before, is something that we can do and really help each other out. So, also another update, the American Queen tour boats, their season starts this weekend. So both Saturday and Sunday we have scheduled visits by American Queen and American Duchess, 2 back-to-back. Of course, as you know, they dock in Chester, and we send one of our costumed French colonial tour guides to Chester. They get on the bus, ride up with them, tell them about St. Genevieve on the way up here. They have a scheduled set of stops during their tour, and they meet back at the Welcome Center at a certain time to get back on their bus to go back to Chester. Someday it would be fantastic if we could have the ability for these boats to dock in St. Genevieve and come right to the heart of the matter much more quickly, and we would
Well,
have a
yeah.
whole hour and a half extra time with them in St. Genevieve.
Well, and
So-
as it is, they don't all come. Not everybody from the boat gets on the bus.
Right,
But-
absolutely.
But if they were to stop here, I think more people would get off the boat.
Yes,
Yeah.
and choose our tour. I mean,
Right.
if you've been on a cruise, you know that you can choose different excursions for the day. So we're the deluxe excursion or the premium excursion, but still there are other things, that they can do that day, so.
If I may.
Yes.
I'm just telling you hearsay, I haven't seen it myself, but an interesting part of this conversation, something that I found very exciting. Eagle's Nest is gone.
You are correct. It is gone. The building at the marina
Yes.
is leveled and.
That is
Yes,
huge.
yes.
I mean, that's
And,
the reason I brought that up is because it's a perfect place for the.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah,
you could build a little port there or something.
and
I
the,
thought that would never happen.
well, I'm with you, I agree.
think a lot of
And Little
people-
Rock Landing,
Pardon?
I think a lot of people thought
Yeah.
that.
yeah, Little Rock Landing's had gravel poured on it and has been smoothed out.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes,
I'll have to
yeah.
go up there one.
Now, all we have to do is get the railroad to straighten the track, not straighten, but level the tracks. Because your car will still almost bottom out going over that hump where the
Hopefully
tracks
they
are.
don't need to straighten it.
No, it's not straight, level, level.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Yeah, well, you know, at 4th Street, right out here, they did that years ago.
Yeah.
You know, it's possible that there doesn't have to be a big hole in between the rails.
Oh, right.
To make your car go
Absolutely
boop, boop.
right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
such a drop-off.
Right, but well,
Nosedive.
yeah, but what would be a parking lot, for want of a better word, at Little Rock Landing has been graded and gravelled and leveled.
Looks nice.
And actually.
Sandra, you still have that rendering, right, of what it
Yes.
could be?
Yes.
You know, with the
We're moving
posts
in
and
that direction, yes.
Lime.
And Mississippi Lime, I would like to point out, donated the rock to do that for us.
Nice.
So, and the city made available their equipment to pick it up and spread it, and so it was an excellent example
Beautiful.
of community cooperation, and looks tons better. So, yeah.
So we just need to put a big eye bolt down there in the riverbank so the boats can tie it up.
You know, it's not much more than that.
It's-
They're about this big
yeah.
around, and
Yeah.
they go down all the way to China, right? So, so American Queen comes back this weekend, and all this information was sent out to the downtown merchants in the tips for tourism. And so I think, well, I'll just go ahead and say that our city budget process is happening in the next 3 months or so, and so we don't have the dates of which work session is going to be the night that the tourism budget gets reviewed, but as soon as I have those dates, I'll send them out, and would appreciate any TAC members and TTC members who can attend and support the budget on those nights.
That's October 1.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I just meant that it will be happening in the next couple of months, and as soon as we have those dates, they should be in August. And so as soon as we know which date will be the night that tourism will be covered, I'll share that information and ask you all to support it if you can. And I heard someone saying earlier that this is the final week for the summer music series, right?
Yes.
And the final week for the Muni Band on Thursday night. And Friday night is the 10th anniversary of the Art Walk.
Yes, it is.
Does anyone have anything special going on with the Art Walk?
I'll add to that. We've never done this before, but all of the artwork in St. John Bay, in the public areas, the staircases and so forth, all the way to the 3rd floor, is all local, original local scenes by local artists. And just coincidentally, the whole 1st floor to 2nd floor staircase is all Mike Devaney's art, and he's going to be displaying at the inn on that Friday night. So
Fantastic.
I think there are several displays that
Oh,
are
yeah,
going to be
yeah.
bigger and
Oh,
better
yeah, yeah.
because it is the 10th anniversary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that covers it.
Are you going to talk about that?
Okay, so I'll go ahead and, in the middle of the page there where it says PBS video, this week we have, sounds like it's past tense there, but we have a video crew from Missouri Life TV that is collecting footage for a 30-minute segment that will be about St. Genevieve. So each fall on this program, there are 6 new communities, destinations featured, and this fall, St. Genevieve will be one of those new 6 communities featured. This was as a result of a grant that we wrote to get this, and they actually got here yesterday early enough to capture some footage during the National Park Service activities at the Amaro yesterday morning, and then they got some footage on the river and some footage around the community. They were at ASL Pewter this morning, and they interviewed Bob Mueller on camera. They'll be interviewing Mike Hankins.
They do great interviews.
Yeah.
They really know how to pose a question so you answer it, so it's very pertinent to the audience.
Ah, good.
Is this associated with that Missouri Life magazine?
It is.
Okay.
So Missouri Life Magazine, that's the name of the program, and Missouri Life Magazine contracts with the public broadcast station based out of Warrensburg, west of Columbia. I get the W's mixed up. So based out of Warrensburg.
Southwest Casey.
Yeah, it's KMOS.
Southeastern Casey, I'm sorry.
And so they have a crew and like a professional hostess for the series, and they go out and they spend a full week in each community, and they have everything from a locally made product, locally made food, some trivia about the community, and then just some beautiful footage of the area. And so they're capturing footage in the historic district, throughout the city, and also in the wine country, because it's a total destination feature. And so it will be a 30-minute segment. It will air as one of their 6 segments, and then after it airs, it's public TV, so it just repeats. So you might turn it on at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it might be on then, or it might be on after school one day.
And it'll be posted on the St. Louis channel. We'll get it after the initial airing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so it will post on St. Louis, Columbia, Kansas City, Springfield, and I suppose it must be also Warrensburg, because they have their own channel. So it will post on all those PBS stations, and that, as we all know, is really a hotbed market for us. The NPR listeners and PBS viewers are very much a good target market for St. Genevieve. They like history. They're usually oriented towards culture, and they usually don't mind spending money while they're here. So that's all good.
Yeah, and I think that was new business, but thank you for that, yes. Okay.
And then you also have this sheet in front of you. So this is our favorite spreadsheet. It has all the color bars. And you can see that 2018 is the kind of lighter blue all the way to the right. And if you turn it over, you've got the data month by month. So some months were higher, some months were a little flatter, but for the year to date, as of June 30th, we're up about 5% over last year. Now you know that in August, we have this huge purple spike to go against with the eclipse, but we're going to give it our best shot and see if we can't get pretty close. And for statistical purposes, we can also take an August average and see how we did on an average August to compare it to.
Right.
But right now, we're up 5% on the year.
Well, that's good. And April, I mean, it snowed in April, for heaven's sake.
Right. Yeah, we were a little flat in April.
All right, thank you for that. I have these. These are a couple of, anybody that wants these have them. And that's actually the same thing as the Parish Picnic. They're just sort of rebranding it and offering more than just Parish Picnic things. There's a car show and several different kinds of food and live music on the square. So if anybody wants to share those with their customers and visitors, that would be a good thing. And this is information regarding tax money.
Yes, that would normally be distributed at the TTC meeting, but
Yeah.
certainly doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt to have it. It's interesting. All right, the only thing left on the agenda
Yes.
is election.
I thought it might be helpful for Megan to tell us how this went last year, so we know what order to do things in.
Last year, we opened nominations. I need somebody to open nominations. There can be as many, well, it's usually 2 nominations, could be 1. We'll have to say if they were accepted. If they weren't accepting the nomination, we'll close them with a first and second, and then we'll vote one by one. Typically, we do chairperson first, and then we'll do vice chairperson.
So we need a motion to open the
I need
nominations.
a motion to open them.
Okay.
So I move to open nominations.
Great.
Do we have a second to open them?
We don't have
Don't need
to
a
have a
second for that.
second.
Okay, good. Okay, so nominations are officially open. And all of you who would like to nominate yourself,
I nominate Sarah Menard.
please raise your hand.
I second that now.
Do you accept the nomination?
I
That's
do.
one thing that we have to do, okay. Dina seconded it.
It's like the only chance I'm ever going to get to say I do.
I didn't know that.
Life is still young.
And then you would ask if there's any other nominations.
Are there any further nominations? Feel free to nominate yourself.
Everybody jump in on it.
Yeah, I think that's it, yeah.
Okay, so we have to close nominations for the chairperson. I need a first and a second to close them.
I'll move to cease
I'm
nominations.
sorry. Okay.
Is there a second?
And then we have to vote
And
one
you
by
have to
one.
vote.
So Sarah, you're going to abstain.
I will abstain.
Dina?
Aye.
Hold on a minute. Jan?
Agreed.
Donna? I know, I'm trying to think of how to put this. Kelly?
Yes.
Kim? Laura?
Yes.
Jack? Tom?
Yes.
And Gary's not here. So, congratulations.
Okay, thank you very much.
And then you'll have to do the same for
And
vice
so-
chairperson, so we need somebody to open it.
We need to,
I'll move to open.
Perfect.
and do we have any nominations for our vice chair?
I also move to nominate Laura Oliver.
Okay.
Excellent.
Do you accept? Okay. Sorry, I'm going step by step. Okay, we'll need a first and a second.
We need a
Need a
motion to.
second?
What?
You need a second on that nomination?
We need a first,
A first.
and then a second.
So moved.
Whatever you need.
Yeah.
I'll use Jan for one. Who wants to second?
Can somebody second Laura's nomination?
Thank
Okay.
you. One of those things. Any other nominations? Okay.
And we have to vote?
We have to close nominations.
Oh.
I'm going to nomination to close. Vice
We should have had a rehearsal.
Okay, that's okay. And then I'll need a second to close the nominations.
Second.
Okay, and then we have to vote, and then we'll be done. Okay, Sarah.
Yes.
Dina?
Yes.
Jan?
Yes.
Donna's not here. Kelly?
Yes.
Kim?
Anybody but me.
Laura, you will abstain. Jack? Absent. And Tom?
Yes.
And Gary Smith. Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you both.
Okay, does anyone have any further business for the
I have
committee?
a question,
Okay.
and it may be a totally stupid question, and I apologize for wasting time, but in this chart, 2017, the July entry,
There is a,
is that an escrow?
that's an adjustment,
Okay.
yeah, an annual adjustment that was necessary to bring things into proper order.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, that clarified. Is there any other business to bring before the committee? If not, the meeting stands adjourned. Thank you all very much for your
No, I'm rather.
attendance, your presence, your cooperation.
Megan, thank you for walking us through the elections process. And thanks for having a great forum to do it with.
I don't know, that's a good option.
Oh, look, you guys.